eventually something you discover that makes it all worth it. So that is one thing. I think discovering good information by following the right set of accounts, that's one thing. That's something even, a 10 followers account can do, even a very new account can do. Secondly, I think it's about the connections you make. You can, people are, so if you, very famous accounts also reply to tweets, because Twitter is a place, I don't know, people like to have conversations where they're comfortable having conversations there. So there was Ayush Jaswal of Pesto, sometimes he didn't get the time to reply to my DMs. So I asked him, can you check my, so on one of his recent tweets, I replied, hey, can you please check your DM? I'm a big fan. I would love to know your opinion on this. So when you reply on the latest tweets of people, they seem to take a notice and then try to help you out if they have the time. So I
Actually the youngest SWE at a multi-billion dollar company who's part of Z Fellows and BuildSpace. So, hi Harsh, welcome to the podcast. So, I was actually eagerly awaiting this episode. And so, yeah, so firstly, let's get into like what was it like getting featured in the Hot Stars docu-series and how did that opportunity kind of materialize?
thank you so much for the kind intro. So the Hotstar series, that's the Indian edtech story. Um, it's like a docu series done by a bunch of edtech startups in India. So I got my first job through this boot camp called Coding Ninjas, and a bunch of other coding boot camps joined together to run this docu series about how their startups have impacted students and have done good in the ecosystem. So I was featured in the very first episode because my story was a bit interesting for them. So I had dropped out of college to I had I was in college in my second semester, and I got a job through the Coding Ninjas boot camp, and I had dropped out once I got the job offer from them, and then after a couple of years I quit my job to run my own startup. So they really liked that story and they wanted to feature me as one of their student success stories. So that's how I ended up at that Hotstar series.
Yeah, your journey is just amazing. Like you've had such an amazing journey. Like you got rejected by NY. No, not rejected. You got a scholarship from NYU. You got like rejected by some IVs and some VCs as well. And so I just wanted to touch on like how did you kind of find these opportunities like Z Fellows, Build Space, and how did you kind of choose to apply for them? And what do you think made your application, like looking back at it, what made your application stand out for those opportunities?
Finding Z Fellows, BuildSpace, um, I think I surf Twitter a lot. I think I found out about Z Fellows from somebody's tweet. So there was this guy called Matt Espinosa, and I think he did Z Fellows and he put a tweet out. And then I went on to see what is Z Fellows. Their website in that day looked pretty sketchy, but his story was interesting. The Z Fellows website's promise was very interesting. 10,000 drop out for a week and do whatever you want, and the kind of people they had on the landing page as advisors and everything was pretty interesting. So I discovered Z Fellows through Twitter. I think similar case, BuildSpace I discovered through Twitter, and a bunch of other grant programs, startup programs I discovered through Twitter. So I think for my journey, at least, Twitter has been really helpful. I do waste a lot of time on Twitter surfing stuff and jokes and memes and everything, but in the end, it has been worth it because I have found life-changing opportunities through Twitter.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat as you. Kind of like I spend a lot of time on Twitter, but it's definitely changed my life. Like I've met some of the most ambitious, crazy ambitious people on Twitter, and I met them in real life as well. Like I met Retain or Fueler online first. That's how we connected, and then we actually met in real life in Bangalore, like quite a few times at various events and such. And so that's kind of how the in real life to no on online to in real life kind of thing kind of came about with many of the people that I interacted with. And so my next question to you is more along the lines of Power of X. So let's talk about how one can start leveraging X to build these life changing opportunities, as you had just mentioned. And how can someone go about doing that, even when they have like as little as 100 followers, or even when they have like more than 1,000? What can they do to like stand out, and what can they do to get these opportunities?
Right. I think a lot of people say that social media is very time wasting or not a good place to hang out. But if you follow the right set of people, right? If you follow the right set of accounts, you can gain a lot of value. Like there are accounts that put out cringe content or content that is very basic or might not be relevant for you. So if you pick your, the kind of accounts that you're following very carefully, you'll get a good feed of constantly, their tweets and their friends of friends tweets. So it's very important to follow the right side of accounts to get good info on your timeline. And once you are at 100, 500,000 followers, you have, it seems like you are a legit account. And when you reply to tweets, people reply back. When you ask questions on some tweet, people reply back. So there are multiple ways you can leverage. If you follow the right set of accounts, you will get useful information along the week. If you're constantly surfing X, obviously 40% might not be useful to you, but maybe 60, 40, 30% might be helpful to you. And that can be you know, that can make all the difference, getting to know about some good grant program, some hackathons, some accelerator program through Twitter. Like for me, discovering Z Fellows or BuildSpace changed my life. So I mean, definitely there'll be a lot of time, every hour that you spend on X might not be producing value, but eventually something you discover that makes it all worth it. So that is one thing. I think discovering good information by following the right set of accounts, that's one thing. That's something even, a 10 followers account can do, even a very new account can do. Secondly, I think it's about the connections you make. Um, you can, people are, so if you, very famous accounts also reply to tweets because Twitter is a place, I don't know, people like to have conversations with, they're comfortable having conversations there. So there was Ayush Jaswal of Pesto, Sometimes he didn't get the time to reply to my DMs. So I asked him, can you check my. So on one of his recent tweets, I replied, hey, can you please check your DM? I'm a big fan. I would love to know your opinion on this. So when you reply on the latest tweets of people, they seem to take a notice and then try to help you out if they have the time. So Ayush did, and a lot of people otherwise. Similarly, I reached out to other people and they responded, and I was able to get some question answered and build some connections. So today, like kind of like really unlocks the access for you. And yeah, I mean, just this morning I was seeing some tweet that, like someone was asking, hey, can you please connect me to Bill Ackman? And Bill Ackman is this amazing guy with like, yeah, he's in a billionaire, right? And I think and somebody said that, can you connect me to this guy? And someone probably is in network said, hey, please connect to Bill, to this guy. He wants to talk to you. And then Bill Ackman um, replied in the thread, yeah, please DM me, feel free to DM and I'll answer. So that's great, right? I mean, you get to talk to a billionaire by just using X in a great manner. Be kind, respectful, tell what you want, and yeah, people are willing there to help you out, and it really unlocks opportunities for you. Everybody, um, everybody is like talking about their personal, professional lives. You will get to see it's like slightly informal than LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you will just see this, very professionally curated content talking about your professional tone. But on Twitter, you can always expect a mix of personal and professional. And I also talk a lot about my personal life, and my audience doesn't seem to mind it much. And probably people find it better to see the both sides of a person. So Twitter just unlocks access for you for amazing people that you might not otherwise be able to reach out to easily by some other platform or some event. So yeah, by sitting at home, you can get connected to millionaires, billionaires. That is the power of Twitter if you use it right. And I think, yeah, once you gain an audience, right? Eventually, if you build like 5,000, 10,000 followers, or even 1,000 followers, you take a blue tick and then you constantly tweet people, you find your audience. And then what our audience help you to do is, you can test out product ideas very easily. You can say, hey, is anybody interested in this? I'm building this. And that way, I get a lot of leads whenever I'm building something. I tell people, hey, you want to try this out and give us feedback. Hey, I'm building this. Would you be interested in subscribing to this? So that way, once you have an audience, even a small one, you can test prototypes, you can test ideas very easy. And people reach out to you, like initially what I used to do, even I have this, like I had my Calendly link open for everybody, and I had that in my Twitter bio. So anybody who visited my profile and if they wanted to talk to me, they just booked a Calendly call. So that way I built up a lot of valuable connections. I mean, a lot of those calls, some of those calls didn't happen. People didn't show up. But I think the other good calls that happened because of that, putting the Calendly on my bio openly, made up for it. The good experiences made up for the bad experiences. And yeah, I think these are the couple of things that you can get value out of in terms of by staying on Twitter. Um, yeah.
Yeah, so let's riff on cold emailing and DMing a bit. Like, you touch on a number of great points, and I think those are completely interesting. But I think it's also important that we delve into like cold emailing, DMing, because that's also a super helpful way to get connected with people as well, especially when you don't have those intros or those warm intros to get you connected with them in the first place. So how would you go about crafting a cold email or cold DM to somebody that you would want to connect with?
To talk about Twitter specifically, what you can do is you can DM them something, and if they don't respond, just like I gave the Ayush example, DM them something very short and crisp, make it personal. Hey, so in the example of Ayush, I talked about, hey, I'm building something in recruiting. I love Pesto. I would love to talk more about this idea with you or something. So make it very crisp and make it very personal. Why do you want to talk to them? And why are you interested in them? And what's your ask? So make it crisp and clear in a couple of sentences and send it as a DM. And if they don't respond, what you can do is you can reply to one of their latest tweets and say that, hey, big fan, would love to talk to you. Please check your DMs. And then they might check their DMs and answer back. So that is one way. Other ways to, if you want to do cold emails, which I haven't done often, the content will probably remain broadly the same. And you can just shoot them an email, right? Even Paul Graham responds to a lot of emails if you've seen the tweets. So I think it's just about crafting a very crisp, because you don't need to make it very long, otherwise the person gets bored and it seems a hassle to read everything and revert back. So you gotta make it as simple as for the person to respond and understand what you want. So you can reach out on Twitter or LinkedIn or email, whatever platform or communication channel you prefer. And I don't expect everyone to revert back quickly or even revert back. So it's a numbers game. Whoever you are interested in, shoot a lot of DMs. And it's not always that like you might not have an intro. Um, I mean, if you know that principle, or have you seen that, like somebody told to me that, like you're always like a few hops away from anybody in the world. Like there is this like 5 hop or 3 hop, 7 hop connection. So someone they know someone and they know someone who can reach out to anybody who you want. You're only a fixed number of hops away from anybody. Like my boss knows Sanjay Parthasarathy, and Sanjay Parthasarathy knows Bill's kid. So I'm only like 3, 4 hops away before getting a message to Bill Gates. So you can also find people in your network, and you can ask them. They might know someone, and they might know someone who can reach out to your target person. So you can always, do this research work and figure out, hey, which this person is connected to. If you use LinkedIn, you will get to see, this is a second degree connection, this is a third degree connection. So you can find relevant people who can make that introduction. So it's not as easy as just emailing a cold DM, because here in this you'll have to do a bit of research. Hey, which is the right person to reach out to this person? But that's also a strategy that can work.
Yeah, those were some completely amazing strategies that you just shared of how you can get an intro potentially from someone. And so my next question to you is more along the lines of, so I wanted to riff now on BuildSpace and DevKits. So you shared a bit about how life changing it was for you, that whole entire experience. So now let's get into like what exactly did you do to like get to that 16th position, or like to do so well in BuildSpace, and like how can somebody like learn from your journey, and like what could they take away as well, like from the entire BuildSpace journey and the entire journey of DevKits?
Okay, I think specifically about BuildSpace, I think I did something before S3 also. Maybe we did S2, but maybe partially. But S3 is where I put in a lot of effort and we really got to somewhere. So let me think about that. So we discovered S3, and this time I religiously followed. Uh, a little bit I broke off in between. I was not adhering to the deadlines very strictly, but I managed to submit all the updates. In BuildSpace, it's like a 6 week hackathon, online hackathon, and every week you have to submit an update. So their goal is to help you build a product from 0 to 1, launch it, make some money, get users. So it's a very structured program. They have weekly Twitch sessions and they give you a form to fill. What did you do this week? Which metrics did you increase? So for me, it was all about consistency, and also being a little bit forgiveness on your own. Like if you're not able to submit a weekly update on the deadline itself, no worries. Submit it 1 day late, but make sure to submit it. So have this consistency, but forgive yourself on the days you're not able to do that. You know, you don't need 100%, 80%, 70% consistency is also good. But just stick to it. Just finish everything that is there. So that I did. We did weekly updates. So the weekly updates that we did on, we filled the form and submitted it. We also posted in the form of tweets and LinkedIn posts for each weekly update. So that also got us more visibility. Um, Posting regularly about our progress in BuildSpace. Hey, I'm watching this lecture. Hey, I was featured in this lecture. Hey, I submitted this weekly update. This is what we all did this week. And then tagging BuildSpace and Farza in your tweets, and your LinkedIn posts also gets you good engagement, because everybody is now, the whole BuildSpace participants are very actively using that tag, that username, the BuildSpace username, in their tweets and posts. So probably the social algos give that a boost, and other people also discover your post through that tag. Um, so having consistency, using these build space and CCing Farza, build space, and other team members in your um, social media posts help to boost the engagement on these posts. And thirdly would be to, I try to use a lot of videos in my tweets and LinkedIn posts. So videos, I think all social media platforms boost videos. So that was also one content thing that helped us, um, using videos as much as possible, in addition to good photos, good text. And I think one of the major things was we did a product hunt launch during the BuildSpace program. So I think about at like week 3 we did the product hunt launch. So we were able to garner the support of the product, the BuildSpace community, plus my own community and my friends and family, and that really helped us, because when we did the product hunt launch, we got a lot of users, a lot of revenue, a lot of upvotes, and our story became more interesting. And we were able to get on top of the leaderboard because the leaderboard involved, they gave you like 1 point for one user, and $1 gave you 10 points. So because of that launch, we were able to get a lot of users, a good amount of revenue, and those metrics held us to, we filled in those metrics in our weekly updates, and we were able to quickly rise up on the charts. And on the basis of these metrics, they were shortlisting top 32 64 people for the final showdown on Twitch, which was like community voting, which people should win, which person should win. So I think they selected top 32 people. We were one of them, and then we won the first round. The community, voted for us, and they made us win. But on the second round, we were not able to win. So we came in the top 16, but not in the top 8, and the top 8 um, got some prize money. So that was the whole journey. I think leveraging social media very uh, carefully, using good text, using videos, tagging BuildSpace for another team members, and being consistent and doing a product and launch. These three things helped us to get to that level.
Those are some really great tips. And I know there are a ton of people listening here today who are also aspiring startup founders, or they are wanting to join, students who want to join like a startup or get their hands dirty and join something in tech. So what advice do you have, given that you've kind of been at both sides, in the sense that you've worked at a company and you're also doing your own startup stuff, and now you're jumping into an accelerator and residency program. So maybe if you could touch on a couple of those things, that would be amazing.
Right. I mean, if you want to work in a startup, like it's a slightly different experience from a corporate. In corporate, you have a lot more structure, very well defined responsibilities. Like you'll be a front end engineer, so you're working on just the front end of the app. But in a startup, you will be kind of expected to, like if something comes up, you will take the initiative and get that done. So in a startup, it's more fast paced, more number of responsibilities, more number of working hours, and probably sometimes lesser pay, at least in terms of the amount of effort you're putting in. But the promise of equity, the promise of growth, the learning, and all of that kind of makes up for it. So if you want to work in a startup, I would highly recommend that, especially in your early stage of your career. Um, you know, Apply for a startup that has raised a good seed round or Series A round. So that way you can be a part of a good enough large team and still get that startup experience and learn a lot and make some decent money while, being able to learn a lot from in these startups, everybody is very easy to reach out to. Even the founders and the core team members are ready to help you out if you get stuck somewhere. And it's a very close knit circle. And you have, Sundays, Saturdays, sometimes working, and it sounds hectic, but if you look back, it's very fun. The kind of experience that you get startups, the kind of learnings that you get, they remain with you forever. And when you're young, you have a ton of energy. So make sure to use that very well by at least spending 1 or 2 years working at a startup and, you know, continue more if you like it. But yeah, the kind of the different kind of things it will expose to, because you will be able to see what's all happening within all the different departments, what the founders are doing, and what everybody is doing. In a corporate, everybody has their own department and has their own things to focus on, and everybody might not have, the bandwidth to connect with you, or it will not be very easy to reach out to different people. But in a startup, everybody is very close knit on Slack, or if you have a in-office job, that's great. So if you want to go work for a startup, I would highly recommend that if you're young. Spend 1 2 years, learn a lot, and then figure out what you want to do next. Maybe do something of your own, or join a corporate, or join a slightly bigger startup, and see how it goes. I think on the second question, the Accelerator Residency program, this is something that we're trying new. So for a longest time, I have been seeing myself, hey, I want to be the kingmaker, not really the king. So I want to help other people out, make great products, make good money. Um I mean, I have not cracked anything really big. Like we haven't hit $1 million in annual recurring revenue yet, but I feel I have crossed a few steps of the journey. One of our product is at like 500, $600 MRR. So, I mean, even that stage is unreachable or hard to reach for a lot of people. So, I want to get people to make their first $100 in the internet. So, I did a cohort like that just recently. I think yesterday was the last lecture of our first batch. So, the goal was to, people who want to build something of their own and want to make money on the internet. Let's help them. Let's tell them how to think of an idea, shortlist it, build an MVP, launch it, and make money. So this Accelerator slash Residency program is kind of the IRL version of that. We are doing 1 month program where we will do the same thing. We'll help you shortlist an idea, build that, sales, marketing, launching, fundraising, everything. We'll try to give you a glimpse of everything, and we'll help you to launch a product by the end, and we'll try to invest in you and get you some investors. So it's kind of inspired from different pre-accelerator programs that exist out there, like Draper University. They charge $12,000 for a 5 weeks entrepreneurship program in California. Similarly, the residency is like a 3 4 months program where people come together, live together for a couple months, and they try to get something off the ground. Similarly, BuildSpace residency, I think, charges a monthly fee, just like Draper. But BuildSpace School doesn't charge. It's also 3 months program right now in SF. They started their second batch just now, I think, and they also do something similar. 3, 5, 6 weeks you're together and you're building something, and they are helping you to get that off the ground, whatever metrics or goal you have for the end of the 3 months. So I've been inspired from all of these different programs, and for the longest time, I wanted to be a kingmaker. So I have reached a point, I think, where I can at least guide people who are a few steps behind me in the journey. So we want to help that. We want to help people get their first product out and make some money with that. And then, if it's a good fit, maybe try to connect them with investors and help them in their entrepreneurship journey. So that's the goal with this accelerator program that we're planning, and it'll be in Gurgaon 1 month. Everything will be taken care of, and we just have to be there, work hard, network with people, and have fun and build something cool.
That's super amazing. And you've had such an inspirational journey. Like you were dormant on X for a while, and then suddenly you became like super active, and then you started posting a lot. And I think that's where you started getting a lot of traction as well. And so that kind of lent itself to a lot of opportunities for you as well. And I'm just been loving to see your journey and like see like how you've been shooting your shot, and especially like trying to get Corey to do the India tour and stuff like that. So yeah, amazing, amazing stuff you're doing. And that's why I was like eagerly awaiting this episode. So yeah, super thrilled to have hosted you on the podcast today. And like do share how the audience can get in touch with you and like how they can pitch to you or like how they can like learn more about what you're building.
Thank you so much. Um, I think, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much active on all social platforms. Instagram, Twitter. Twitter is the best place to reach out. I'm all day long present there. So Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, anything works. Or even I check emails sometimes. So, but yeah, just shoot me a DM on Twitter anytime, and it should be good to go. And yeah, I mean, I have a mini book about my journey. If anybody is interested in that, they can check out Gumroad. Whatever I've learned across the years and my whole journey, I've documented that there. So that's also another place to for anyone to read more about my story and my content. And yeah, shoot me on a Twitter DM if anybody has any question or just want to chat.
Sure, I'll include the links for all your socials as well as